Amberlynn is immobile, or close to immobile, during the time that you spent with her during your season. Raven and I would like to know, what does Amberlynn do with all of her time?
This is something that you guys probably already know about her, but it depends on what she's into in the moment. Like, it could be reading and being on her computer for hours upon hours at a time. She would have so many tabs open, and it would just be like YouTube, shopping. She would have her personal journal that she would write in open. I don't know. Sometimes I didn't even know because I didn't even really see a lot of her computer or her phone. She was also on her phone, but I was aware of the many different tabs that she was on, because another thing with Amber was no matter what she was doing or what we were doing, she could only handle it for so long, and then she would have to switch to something else. So if we were watching a movie or a TV show or something, we could only watch so much of it, and then she would pause it and we'd have to do something else for a little while before we come back to it. She also was really into puzzles and Legos and journaling, and one thing that took up a lot of time was this game that she would force me to play called Choosy, where she would take a bunch of like thousands of stickers, like she bought bulk stickers, and had me pick between them all the way down until I picked one single sticker to be the best sticker of all. And she made me do this with buttons and earrings, calendar pages. She would buy a bunch of small calendars and tear the pages out and then have me pick between the pictures down to which one I liked the most. And Croc Charms. She would make me play choosy between Croc Charms, and she didn't even own a pair of Crocs. She just had thousands of Croc Charms for no reason. And sometimes, because there was so many, like with stickers and earrings, it would take hours and sometimes even days to completely get down to just one. And another thing that would take up a lot of time is she would set a timer for 45 minutes to an hour usually. And she would have me sit behind her and pretend to pick lint off of her back because she liked the way it felt and sounded because of ASMR. And she would have me do this for so long that my arms and stuff would hurt. And whenever I would want to stop, she would sigh and just be like, well, I'm going to pause the timer. So she would pause the timer for my little break, and then I'd have to immediately go back to it, and she would unpause the timer again. Sometimes I would catch her not unpausing the timer because she would want me to do it for longer.
How long was the mattress in the living room where you guys lived? And whose idea was it to put a mattress arbitrarily in the middle of a living room for Amberlynn to loiter on?
It was over a period of, I want to say, about 2 years. Whenever she would want to hang out in the living room, I would have to drag the mattress out. And when we were done hanging out, I would have to drag it back into the spare bedroom. It wasn't the bed that we slept on. It was my bed from before we were together, and it stayed in the spare bedroom. So it didn't stay in there all the time, but I did drag it back and forth for many days over the course of a few years. But it was all Amber's idea, and it was because she would get uncomfortable sitting on the couch because her ankles would swell, and it would just be more comfortable for her to be able to stretch her legs out. And there were also other reasons that I won't disclose.
Was there ever a single lie that stuck out to you more than any of the others? Raven, Elise would like to know. Was there anything that Amberlynn told her audience where you just thought to yourself, wow, I cannot believe that she is that confident lying about that?
Yeah, there were times whenever she would show in a what I ate in a day video, she wouldn't exactly show everything that she ate. She would just show you guys what she thought was acceptable for you guys to see, and then just not even talk about the other things that she would eat. So I was just always shocked that she really thought people would believe that. And I think you guys already know this, but there were many days that she would film lots of videos in one day, and she would switch her outfits to make it more convincing that it was different days. And she would also ask me to change my outfits to make it more convincing for those videos.
How was Amberlynn with her money? Does she have more put away than she leads on? Is she doing very well for herself? Do you think that it's absolutely ridiculous that you left the apartment with $100 to your name knowing how well Amberlynn was doing?
She did make a ridiculous amount of money. I don't know about now, but when I was with her, she did not save it. She would spend it, and it would just be on whatever random things she wanted. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to keep harping on this, but it is ridiculous that I only had $100 to move out on, because I didn't get any of the money from the live streams that I participated in. But I am just grateful to be out of that situation and in a better one now. And now I just want to jump into my reaction to Amber's most recent Members Only Live. I didn't want to make a standalone video to respond because it really didn't deserve one. All I have to say is this: an apology is not public when it's behind a paywall. An apology is not an apology when you call me a liar and insult me in the same breath. You say that I'm making these videos for money and that I'm not telling the truth, and you wish that I wasn't saying these things publicly. Meanwhile, you shamed me and exploited me publicly for many years. That's why I won't keep my story private, because it was never private. And yes, it is my story to tell, and I am going to tell it how I want to tell it. I've been as respectful as I can be while still sharing my story with people who were there as it played out. I haven't mentioned a lot of things because they are embarrassing for everyone involved and private, but being embarrassed isn't a reason to claim something is a lie when it isn't. You said that reaction channels see me as all good now because I'm against you, but while they've been nice, they've also had very valid criticisms about me in my past, especially while with you, and nobody sees me as all good because I don't want them to, and I never have been. I've made many mistakes, and I will probably continue to make more mistakes, but I've put in the work and tried really hard to change and be better. You have not changed, and I'm definitely not going to be sending you a private message, because I don't care to get that apology from you, and I certainly don't want to talk to you. An apology without change or accountability has no meaning. And that's all I have to say to you.
So I've not been with them in almost 5 years. I am a completely different person than I was then. And I'm sure Beck is also a different person than they were then. Nothing was perfect. And I'm going to let you know that some of the things that Beck has said has been true. And some of the things have been flat out lies. No matter what I say, if I defend myself or not, people will choose to believe Beck. That is the way my whole YouTube career has gone. It's not going to be any different now. So I would rather people believe every single thing that they said just to protect my mental health from having to defend myself to a bunch of people who already have their opinion made up. You know, to be honest, I would rather come clean about the stuff that's true than like sit there and like defend myself over the stuff that isn't true. I just realized that. Like, I would rather be like, yeah, like I'm gonna take full accountability. That did happen. Those things did happen. But the stuff that I have to defend myself on, girl, I would rather sit in like a lava, like a bowl of lava, and just let my skin burn off at that point, like truly. And that genuinely stands. Like, some of the things that Beck is saying is actually leaving me so shocked. And I'm more than willing to take accountability and admit where I was wrong literally 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and 7 years ago. Like, it's been so long since we've been together and I'm just not the same person as I was. I think it's very apparent. Beck is responding to things where like I was at like a very vulnerable state. Things that we went through together, like having to do with my mobility and things like that, like that's not okay, like sharing those types of things. I understand wanting to like share like in the ways that I might have mistreated you as a girlfriend, which I wasn't the greatest girlfriend back then. I can 100% like take accountability in that. But I think bringing up like my mobility issues, lying about certain things, exaggerating to make certain things seem way worse than what they were, and like answering questions that genuinely have nothing to do with like sharing your side of the story, and it's more so just for the lack of a better term, it just feels like a bunch of people just sitting there talking shit. How I feel doesn't matter. I'm not going to defend myself towards the lies, but I will take accountability for the truth. More than anything in this current time, like I need to protect my peace. Like I was with Beck for almost 5 years, and there's a lot of things that they did or said or whatever that I could sit here and be like, well, guess what? Guess what they did? I can also share my side, but I'm not going to.
Because people will believe what they want to believe regardless of what I say. I want to get my BPD under control like so badly, because it's like some of the things that Beck said, I was like, yeah, like I did do that. It made me sad for like myself and for them. And it's like, sorry, it's just a lot in this weird way. Like I'm almost glad that I can look back and be like, okay, wow, I wish I could have like improved sooner, quicker, faster, but like no time is better than like now.
I viewed our whole relationship a certain way that it wasn't. I genuinely thought that they wanted to be on camera and that they were okay with being on camera. And I was so accustomed to them zoning out or seeming like they didn't want to be on camera that like that was normal for me. But I didn't know that the zoning out and the look on their face, etc., was like an indication that they weren't listening to me or that they didn't want to be on camera. Like that is like news to me. So knowing that like I viewed our relationship one way and it wasn't, like I genuinely look stupid, but I guess like maybe I low-key deserve it.
Realizing that we both viewed this relationship so differently actually makes it easier for me to be accountable and to apologize, because if that's the way that they truly viewed it, like I deeply apologize for that. And there's nothing I can do to change their opinions and their thoughts and their experience, because that's what they lived.
I wasn't the greatest girlfriend. I wasn't the most perfect girlfriend, but I will say I'm not all good. I'm not all bad. And I wasn't that way then either. Like our relationship was definitely complex. And even though it might not be visible to the public, or even to Beck in this moment, I have taken accountability for the things that I've done. And in the video, they even stated like, I don't want you to reach out to me. And that's very much why I haven't, because I wanted to respect those boundaries. But they said, I don't want an apology from you. I genuinely feel like Beck deserves an apology for the wrongdoings that I did do. But if they don't want to accept it or hear it, then I have to be okay with that. I'm not going to apologize to the internet. The apology wasn't for you guys. It was for them. I feel like in this situation, like this type of accountability should be handled in private, just like the apology should have. And the sort of discussion that is like happening between back and forth with us, like these things should be happening in private. And it's like when personal matters like this are brought onto like a public platform, I feel like backed up in a corner, like I have to defend myself or I have to say something. But it's like, I'm not gonna sit here and go through every single thing that they said, like every single claim, every single this or that, because that is just gonna fuel negativity. I truly don't feel like the back and forth is productive for either of us. But if they truly feel like sharing their story is what is gonna help them in the long run, then go for it. But I have to genuinely step away. Like I said, I wasn't going to speak about them, and that was standing. But like hearing all of these things being said, it's been hard for me, because it's like I have shown growth in my personal life, and it's hard to like show growth publicly when these are things that like was happening behind the scenes. So publicly, I might look the same to you guys, but I have changed a lot. I am always open for growth and for changing to be a better person every single day. And I want to reflect on the past more, because that actually genuinely helps me see ways that I need to improve and ways that I already have improved.
And I just want to say that anytime that I had Beck on my channel, it was never out of malice. I never meant to disrespect them. And I really, 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 really did love them. This might be a little tea because no one knows, but when Beck and I were just friends while I was with Feline, and Feline did know this, don't worry. One night I got really, really drunk, and I told Beck, like, I really was in love with you and I still love you. Like, you're a great person. And I hyped them up because genuinely I owe so much to them, and I have so much gratitude to them. They were there for me during some of the hardest moments of my life, i.e., when I was diagnosed with cancer. But I have never tried to show them in a certain way. Nothing was ever out of malice from the bottom of my heart, and I just really needed to make that clear. The only person that I'm worried about and them actually hearing me is Beck. And if they don't want to, that's their prerogative. I'm okay with that. I want them to do whatever helps them. I'm not apologizing for myself. I'm apologizing to the person that I was in a relationship with for almost 5 years. And I hurt them, and I'm sorry for that. I really want to continue taking that experience and that relationship and learning from it. Beck can say absolutely anything from this point forward, and I am not going to respond. I genuinely wish them nothing but the best. And the apology that I need to give to you guys, if I hurt any of you during this whole thing because you guys care for Beck, then I'm also sorry for that. I am a very flawed individual. That is not an excuse, but I'm a flawed individual that can learn from this experience. And thankfully, I have. Whether people see it or believe it, I know it because I am my own person and I know how I've been in past relationships. And as I've gotten older and more mature and I've learned more about my BPD and just who I am as a person, I have become a better person and I have become a better girlfriend. I've become a better friend, I've become a better pet parent, I've become a better daughter, I've become a better sister, but I'm still flawed. I'm super complex and nuanced, just like we all are. And this just has to be the last time that I speak about this to protect my peace. And I hope that Beck does things that also protects theirs.